Welcome back to the Telosive EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Delays. This episode is going to be delayed to be on track with all the news we have to talk about with what else can be delayed.
Yeah, good foreshadowing, Drew. I have no idea what editing issues I'll run into or what will hold me from posting this on time. But now that we've mentioned it, I have the freedom to post this later. So thanks, Drew.
Nick is going in production heck.
Oh yeah, I'm in production heck at the moment.
Post-production. Yeah. So how are you, Mike?
I'm okay. Still
okay?
suffering from the Tesla not letting me play any games when I'm supercharging. So I just sit
that
there.
hasn't changed.
I sit there very bored, very tired, and not able to do anything but watch YouTube or everything else that Tesla can do. So I'm pretty miserable.
Wow.
Now you can only watch YouTube on your car.
Oh, my
Sounds
goodness.
awful.
Do you imagine having a car that couldn't supercharge? Like, it just sounds like the end of the world.
Gross.
Gross.
But how is your emotional mentality holding up after some of the news we got yesterday?
I need some therapy, Drew.
Our boy Elon
Cybertruck
again.
Yeah. For those who may be out of the loop, we're talking about the standard range Model 3 dropping 1 mile of its EPA estimated range.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's obviously upsetting Nick on a personal level.
Yes.
And I would love to know why. Like, what changed? What happened? Like, I would expect a weight update in the specs if it was a switch to lithium iron phosphate, but they either just haven't updated that yet, or I don't know. But there was something they changed with the standard range Model 3 that was not changed on the long range or the performance. So I don't know what it is, but they don't change it for no reason, right?
I don't think so.
They added a extra battery or an extra piece of plastic that is just enough to where it's reducing the range by 1 mile.
But it's not on the long range options.
No. Why would they put on the long range option? The standard range option or standard range option really needs it. That one piece of plastic.
What is this plastic for? What does it do?
It is for optimizing the center of gravity for the vehicle so well that it was off by 0.05% from where it should be. And so that 0.05% difference has resulted in a ranging decrease by 1 mile.
Wow.
So
Wow.
all I'm saying here is that the standard range is now ruined. And
Literally.
I
No
will
one should buy
now,
it. It's terrible. Go buy the Mach-E,
Yeah.
which is a famously amazing car, which
263
Nick
was
still doesn't hate.
or go buy a
Tons
Bolt.
of range.
Go have fun buying a Bolt.
Go buy a bomb. I mean a Bolt. 263 was perfect. No one had any problems with 263, but 262, unacceptable. Far
Not
too low.
even close.
This product is fundamentally ruined.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, with that news as
pretty upset.
well, Elon went on Twitter recently and
Ooh, that is
revealed a
always bad
lot of
news.
things about, the
What did he
Cybertruck. He talked about a lot of things. He mentioned how 2 weeks is a thing again. More of, I guess,
Yes.
notifying people that the beta for FSD
Wasn't
is
it
coming
1 week?
in 2 weeks. Yeah,
It was
but
a
like
week from today,
Uh-huh.
and
But
then
that's rolling
the
out
public
to-
release is 2 weeks from that day. So
yeah.
Wow.
3 weeks. The
So-
new 2 weeks.
Except you take the average of when the beta testers get it and when the public gets it, and you get 2 weeks.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it still
So-
adds up to 2 weeks. So that
Still
means we're
add-
never getting it.
No,
Mm-hmm.
it's not happening.
Oh, wow.
End of this year. I'll stand by that.
Yeah.
By the
I
end
don't
of the
expect it
year.
very soon.
Mike will have it on his car.
You're
Wow.
very brave to say that, Drew.
I think
I'm so brave.
So
No,
brave.
I feel better about this one. I don't know why. I just do. It's a
Okay.
gut. It's not logical. It's not a rationale. I just, based on what he's saying about Beta 10 and how he was unimpressed with 9.2 and that this is updates we're getting post AI day, it's making me think there's something they must have clicked with this one that they feel better about. That their risk appetite
Ooh.
is growing.
I love that word.
They're readying to munch on some risk appetite, and let's just start rolling this out to everyone. I just can't wait to see how much fine print there is when you press that button. How many pages?
Almost
do you have to go
as
through?
many pages as Jeff Bezos submits in his lawsuits, which is not necessarily EV
That's a
related,
lot.
but
Ooh.
Jeff Bezos clogged up a whole DA's computer with a 7 gigabyte PDF. Stop
It's
the whole
kind of
trial.
related
Yeah,
if you think about it.
yeah. If you think
they
hard
got
enough.
Blue Origin is taking delivery of Rivians before everybody else.
There you go.
So
There you go.
have they delivered a product
Mm-mm.
to investors, not customers? But
And
yes,
has Blue
they
Origin
have
delivered
delivered
anything to Orbit?
Oh no, not Orbit. But
Oh God, no.
there was a petition to not bring Bezos back from the launch. I saw floating around.
Oh, that's mean.
It just keeps.
I'm glad he
going.
came back.
To the moon you go. Yeah.
Yeah, the only possible way Blue Origin could have worse PR.
Have you heard that man's
launch
laugh?
didn't go well.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is the most
have.
maniacal, evil villain laugh I've heard IRL. Or maybe
Yes,
not
I
IRL
have.
because I wasn't there, but in the video,
Indeed.
he was just cackling like, I don't know, like
Like Jeff
Dr. Evil
Bezos,
or something.
or like a
Jeff
billionaire,
Bezos.
evil billionaire from every movie ever.
It's a cackle. He
Yeah.
just needs the pinky to the lip thing, going, and he'll be perfect. Space enemy. But I'm expecting Cybertruck in 2023 now.
Really? The news that
If-
Elon gave is very much affecting your prediction on when it's coming? Because I think we originally predicted like the beginning of 2022.
Originally, yeah, and then it sounds like 4680s are still being problematic. And then if the whole Sawyer Merritt tweet thread ends up being correct, then it sounds like Elon was saying production starts late 2022. So that doesn't even say deliveries late 22. That's just saying production. So
Wow.
after that statement last night and thinking about the 4680 ramp, I'm like, yeah, let's just not even expect it next year.
Well, to be
I'd
fair,
love to be wrong though.
Sawyer Merritt did say that Elon is expecting to grow by a factor of 10 at least. Not Tesla, Elon.
Just Elon.
Just Elon.
He got my memo. You just gotta eat those 10 factor X grow O's for breakfast. It looks a lot. That's a much funnier joke in writing because you can see the apostrophe OS like a Cheerio.
Are they like
but-
really big, like Cheerios? Like
Yeah,
almost
yeah. They're
Loop
10.
size?
They're 10 times factored grown Cheerios. Have you seen?
He wants to grow.
Have you seen Ted Lasso? He gets. I don't know if you guys have seen it. He has a Wheatie like a,
That has Apple. That's on Apple TV.
It is
Plus.
Apple
I
TV
refuse
Plus.
to watch.
This-
I only
this is-
watch For All Mankind.
I watch For All Mankind on YouTube because they have all the best parts there anyway. Bye, Nick. Have a great week.
I hate
Tell
that
Elon
show.
we say hi.
No, Elon and I are gonna go start a picket for how terrible For All Mankind was.
He has time
Yeah.
for
Okay.
that?
So EVs. Holy cow! We have some news on the Cybertruck, and it's very depressing. Honestly, I'm sorry. I know that the Cybertruck is supposed to be this exciting event in my life where I'll have everything that I need and nothing that I don't, and a beautiful design. But unfortunately, that future is not coming until late 2022, if not 2023. I am super
Correct.
depressed, but I'm also secretly really glad because there's no way in heck
That's
I
what
was
I was
going to be
thinking.
ready to buy one come fall, especially the one that I
No?
actually want. And so,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, I probably could have swung a standard range come, whenever that was available. But with this new timeline, I'm fairly confident that I'll be getting the one I actually want, which is a dual motor or tri-motor. So it's a little bit more exciting,
Ooh.
but sad that I have to keep waiting. I
Yeah,
just want more Cybertruck.
This increases the likelihood you get to keep your reservation
This is
with
true.
FSD
100% true. I'm quite
because you'll
happy
have
with
more
that.
time to save. I saw a lot of people looking at the bright side, saying, just what you would have spent on a Cybertruck, throw in Tesla stock, and when the Cybertruck's ready. This is absolutely not financial advice. Do your own research, but I want to know if anyone's ever got in trouble with that. Because
yeah.
I'm debating if I want to start sarcastically saying this is financial advice.
No, we do not want to start saying that.
No,
No.
that would not be good.
I mean, unless you
What if
like
I
being
say-
sued.
I don't like being sued, but
Okay, so then don't say
what
it.
if I say everything I've ever said is a joke?
I also say that, and I'm not sure
So-
how that all adds up.
I just don't like. I don't have much money, people. So
What if Elon said that in a tweet? Everything I said was always a
Not funny.
joke. What?
yeah. SEC loved that one. They're like, oh well, okay. I guess we gotta let him go. How
You know,
about
this-
you, Mike? Does this throw off your plans?
So I would say the good news is it's on the same lines as Nick. More time to save. Wife wants the tri-motor, so we have more time to save, which is fantastic. The
Yeah.
bad news, though, is that we're likely not going to see the finished product on the website in all its glory and all its detail. It's probably going to come next year. So no Cybertruck update for another few months. And by a
Right.
few, I mean like half a year, probably.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to update the site yet if it's that far out, I guess. So
No.
yeah, that is a bit of a bummer. Media-wise, it's sad, but saving-wise, I guess my biggest concern from all this is just how long other electric pickup trucks are going to be on the market before the Cybertruck,
That's a good point.
which annoys me because of how many Tesla haters I interact with on a regular basis, either in Discord or on Twitter. And just people that are like, it's vaporware, it doesn't exist, and this truck is real.
He's pumping the stock.
And when he's pumping the stock, yeah. And when other, whether it's Rivian or the F-150 Lightning, or even if by some miracle Lordstown comes out with their electric pickup,
Flamin'
Flamin'
truck.
soon.
they all get to use the claim that us Tesla fans love using of like, the product is real, it's out, it exists, it's driving, like customers have it. So if Ford and Rivian customers get to brag about that for a long time, and we have to keep sitting around saying, yeah, but Cybertruck's going to be way better, man. It's like, oh, where is it? Next year probably. Wait, it'll be better though. Like, I guess that timeline is just going to annoy me because I know there's probably going to be a decent number of Lightnings on the road. Probably 6 to 7 months before Cybertruck delivers. Maybe
I
more.
thought you were
don't
going
know,
to say
but-
6 to 7 Lightnings on the road, which would be an accurate estimate on how many units they'll sell in a few years.
I'll be honest, I'm seeing a lot of Mach-E's.
Yeah,
Really? Like,
there's a whole
at
bunch
least
of
where I live.
Mach-E's, ID4s, there's a whole bunch in my area. And with the recent numbers of the Lightning surpassing, I think, 130,000 reservations.
Correct. A lot of
It's-
reservations.
It's going to be a popular product. And even so, for not even like electric vehicle related, the Bronco SUV also isn't taking any more reservations, or at least Ford isn't taking any more reservations and or orders. They're backed up. So if people
Right.
are loving the Bronco right now, and then Ford's saying, well, we're also making an electric truck, people are probably going to frolic
and
to that.
an electric Bronco.
If they do, that'd be neat. Yeah.
They
Imagine
keep
them
teasing it. The
announcing that.
CEO keeps saying he's going to work on that, but yeah, I read somewhere that Ford is planning on doubling the production capacity of the F-150 Lightning factory because of all the orders they're getting. So they see the demand and they're like, we got to step up on this. And they weren't terribly late with the Mach-E. They might be a bit late with the Lightning, but there's certainly going to be a lot of... I mean, generally speaking, I don't think Tesla's in trouble for the Cybertruck being delayed because they can't frickin' sell all the cars they're making already, and they're super back-ordered as is. So, like, fundamentally, it's not a problem for Tesla, but I'm just talking about, like, the street talk between Lightning fans and Cybertruck fans is going to get really, really ugly when there's a bunch of electric pickups on the road and the Cybertruck's not out yet. That's just going to bug me. So
Yeah.
I don't want it to be delayed, but
But then think about this, Drew. If the Cybertruck came out, like, let's just say this time, like next month or something like that,
whoa.
Ford fans would still be dissing on it. They'd still say it's
Yeah.
ugly. It's not as good as the F-150 Lightning because it doesn't have all the generation of power it can do for the house, or all the plugs it has, or all the golf clubs you can stuff in the front of it, or you can dump ice in the cooler that's hidden underneath the frunk. Like, they're gonna
They're
pick.
really proud of that feature.
I think it's real cool, but
Okay,
they're gonna
so
nitpick anyways.
I saw a Model 3
It's true.
2 days ago with a cooler in the frunk, and I was like, sorry, Lightning, you got beat. You got Model 3 and
Sorry.
a $20 Amazon accessory. Sorry, that's not a feature anymore.
You're just gonna have a lot of water on the bottom.
No, it's like a big cooler bag thing.
Yeah. Is it
But
the
you gotta
custom one
drain it.
that like
Yeah,
custom
it's
fits?
Custom fits for the
Okay, I've
for
seen
the
that product.
Model 3's frunk, and so you just
Yeah.
like pull it
But you
out.
have to pull it out because there's no drainage thing.
Or you just drill a hole in your
I still don't
Tesla's
like the
frunk.
Lightning. No matter what you
I
say,
mean-
Drew, it's gonna make me like the Lightning.
I'm not trying to convince you of the lightning. I just mean that. But my question is, how does weighting depth get impacted by the drainage hole in the frunk? Right?
I never
Weight
thought
and
of that.
That was my biggest question, because like if you're putting ice in the frunk and it's melting and you're bragging about how it can drain out the bottom, then that means there is somewhere on the bottom for water to go back up. So if you started, Tesla boating, how we see all those videos, people
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
driving
Tesla
into
boating.
the flooded. Like, is that going to fill up your frunk with water when you do that?
It could be a reverse valve in there where like if you're pouring water down, it's open, but if it's meeting a force that's pushing it up, aka water being pushed up, it might close the hole.
I'm not
So you have a
assuming it's a
one-way
problem.
valve?
I'm just wondering if they've thought about that. That's all I'm pondering.
I'm saying there is a solution, but I don't know either. Maybe it'd be good to go look at a Mach-E and ask him.
Can we take a Mach-E on a test drive and just drive it through the water? We're just gonna borrow this Mach-E for a few minutes and go through
Rise
the
it
river.
into the bay, in the Bay Area. It works.
Yeah, and just see what happens. I mean, it honestly wouldn't be that big a problem. I mean, it would get stuff in the frunk wet, but I assume it would drain back out once you got out of the water. So it's not like
Yeah.
a cataclysmic problem, but
Though it is adding mass to the vehicle in the way of that there's water in places that there wasn't water before, which is going to totally eat at the power that the motors can produce at any given time when
True.
it's in the water. So
yeah, Ford, as far as I can tell so far, Ford is not caring too much of weight and efficiency with their vehicles based on Mach-E range per kilowatt hour is not that great, and I assume it's going to be similar with the Lightning of just like, we didn't need to make it aerodynamic, just stuff a ton of batteries in there and it just plows through the air, who cares? So I have a feeling efficiency's not the name of their game, but it was still probably smart of them to reuse as many components and design elements from other F-150s to get the price down, because they're like, well, we know what the Ford fans like, so just give them what they want. It's like the exact same truck, but now electric.
What? No, so much innovation. It's so futuristic.
one
gosh,
could
the
argue-
LED lights and the
You could
40
argue-
EV badges all over the vehicle. Oh my goodness, it's the future. It's the
you
future.
could say
folks.
Tesla did the same thing though with the Y, right? They took the 3,
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
they just
okay.
pumped it
I'll
up,
give you the
gave
Y.
it all the same things.
They took
So-
what they did to make the Model Y is they took a Model 3 and they connected a little air hose bike pump to it, and they just and the whole thing went,
They pumped it up. They don't pump the stock. They pumped the 3 into a Y.
there you go, which
That's
in turn
its
pumped the
design.
stock.
But that does say something about manufacturing efficiency, not just in cost, but also in time. I do personally believe that the Lightning is probably going to be around on schedule. It might be like a month or two late, but the fact that they were able to unveil it and will likely start delivering it pretty quick is like, hey, that says something about when you don't do a radical new design. I know in the tech community especially, I get tired of the word innovation because people will use that as an excuse for kind of gimmicky, impractical products of like, look, it's innovative, therefore it's better. But in this case, it's like sometimes it kind of pays off to not be innovative. You can get your product out faster. You can create something of value that obviously at least 130,000 people see value in. So that's to their
nothing on
benefit.
the millions of reservations for the Cybertruck. So
No, but we really got to do some backwards math on how many of those reservations are. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Lightning is just you don't customize it at all, right? It's just a one reservation for you want a Lightning of some kind.
I think
right?
so. Yeah.
Let me go through the process.
It's not
right
like,
now.
okay, Mike's gonna be
I'm gonna get one
130,001 for
Don't go through with it, Mike. Don't give them the numbers.
I'm gonna do it.
when they announced 130,000. It has not grown at all since that time. But from what I recall, it's like a one-time fee, and you don't customize whether you want the Lariat or the long range or the standard. It's just like, give us money now, and then you get a Lightning of some kind when it comes time to deliver. But Cybertruck obviously had all the different trims, so that results in everyone ordering. I've actually not met anyone with one reservation, which I find interesting.
Of the Cybertruck?
I'm trying. Yeah, everyone I know who has one has more than
Multiple.
one. I think Randy has one.
Randy has one. I think Brittany has one too. So I think
They
have two.
both have one?
I think they both have one.
Scratch that. I know you have 6. Mike has 2.
6. I wish.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot of backup. But either way, I do generally agree. Cybertruck is likely in much higher demand than the Lightning, just based on how much internet traffic it generates compared to the Lightning, and the practicality of the exoskeleton, and how many. I've actually seen a ton of people that are not pickup truck owners reserving Cybertrucks and saying, this is my dream vehicle. That's Nick. He's never owned a
That
pickup
worries
in his
me.
life.
That really worries me. A truck that's that durable, and a driver who has never driven a truck behind the wheel on the road.
Plenty of trucks. I've just never owned one. In fact, the first vehicle I ever drove was a old Suburban that was probably longer than this pickup truck, Cybertruck we're talking about, because that Suburban was like, it wasn't a tank, it wasn't a battleship, it was an aircraft carrier trying to park that thing. So...
I just imagined an aircraft carrier with wheels. My brain exploded. Did you know those are atomically nuclear powered?
Some of them are. I think the United States has 11 nuclear powered aircraft carriers.
It's kind of cool.
UK only has one.
Mind-blowing.
China has like 7.
Like, we just put a little nuclear plant on this boat. Why not?
Why not?
What else are you going to power it with? Turbines? Oh, yeah, I think that's
well, some of them aren't nuclear.
Wind power. Ooh.
Yeah, I was thinking more of...
Replace
we
the
go
deck.
back to sailboats.
Whoa, hold on. We replaced the deck, the landing deck of the aircraft carrier with solar panels. We get some big windmills that produce electricity, and then, like, we're set.
The Aptera
Nick, you just turn you turn the aircraft carrier just into a solar plant. It has no usage.
Well, hey, that might be a more useful thing than this whole war thing that we got going on. So, maybe that would be a better use of humanity's time. Do some solar power.
Solar power, yeah.
War.
Just throw some
What is it good for?
Right?
solar power.
That's a very deep question.
Have you guys? Okay, this is a pretty cool piece of news that I heard recently. I've got a friend who's from Lebanon. And currently right now they're going through a gasoline crisis or energy crisis, and every single crisis you can think of because they're in between two nations that are warring.
Yes.
But because gasoline prices are now at $16.75 per gallon or something like that, it's insane.
Oh my God.
People can't power their businesses, so businesses are in a crisis. It's crazy over there. But because of this issue, because gas costs $16.75 or whatever, they're switching to solar. And so now they have a solar panel crisis because people kept on buying solar panels and we're trying to get them from everywhere. And now it's like a back order for if you're in Lebanon and trying to find solar panels.
Wow.
But it's a pretty cool problem to have in terms of like trying to get solar panels. Like you just can't because everyone is trying to buy them because gas prices are too high.
I would agree with you that it's a cool problem to have, but not under great circumstances.
Very terrible circumstances.
No, terrible.
But, like just the headline seems interesting. Like, solar panels, you can't get them in Lebanon. Well, that's interesting. A lot of people are interested in renewable energy there. No, it's just gas prices are $6.70 or $16.75.
Wow,
Yikes.
that's crazy.
So get solar.
businesses I
that
like
puts my
looking
complaints
into.
on gas in perspective. Jeez.
Yeah, gas didn't even have to be expensive for me to be mad about it or annoyed by it. Like I roll my eyes every time we go to the gas station. Just the process of filling up. But
Touching that
I did
pump.
want to give
Ugh.
some credit here. Solar panels are just an amazing piece of technology. I feel like we take for granted a lot of the time. The fact that you can literally just put something in sun and then it converts that into energy
burnt
that
skin.
you know.
Yes,
into
that's
burnt
me.
skin. Like the fact that we basically like make our own version of photosynthesis in a way. Like we're gonna harness energy from the sun. I looked up inventors. There's apparently a lot of people that are credited to coming up with that tech. It's dated as far back as 1839 with a physicist from France named Edmond Becquerel. But there's other people that get credit for it. Gerald Pearson, Charles Fritz, Russell Owell, Calvin Souther Fuller, and Daryl Chapin. But basically, it's fairly old technology, but just the fact that there's so many people interested in that and so many people still buying it, I just think that it's a pretty impressive business to be in if you're making something that you just cannot make enough of, which is why I guess Tesla is a big interest to me. But I'm glad they're in the solar business as well because that goes hand in hand with their products. And I'd love to get solar, but
well, you're not getting Tesla Solar because SpaceX bought all of the Tesla Solar. I'm pretty sure they've
Really?
been installing Tesla Solar on every building in Starbase. They have it on the walls, on the houses, on top of high bay. They got solar. They have a whole
On the
field of solar
burgers.
panels. Yeah, they got. They haven't put it on top of their aircraft carriers yet, but it's kind of cool because eventually SpaceX wants to make. I'm sorry, turning into SpaceX podcast again. Eventually, SpaceX wants to make their own propellant on plant with liquid oxygen and methane.
correct.
And methane they're sourcing from an oil well or a well and a natural gas methane well that's already at the site, and then liquid oxygen they're going to just take from the atmosphere. But in order to convert, that and pressurize it and all that fun stuff, it requires a lot of energy, and so they need a lot of power, and where else to do that but the sun? And so they've been building out a ton of solar power, and it's just kind of cool to see them be less dependent on the grid, which can be unreliable down here in South Texas, and then also taking up all of the. I've seen so many power walls. Like I'm pretty sure the reason why there aren't any power walls is because they're all in Starbase right now.
Yeah, I've heard they're super backordered just from 2 or 3 people I know anecdotally waiting for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about Tesla? I think it's Tesla filing for, I think it's a W8 or something like that, or W3. It's some form that allows you to become a energy providing service in a state.
In Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I did
cool.
hear about that.
I did not.
I think that's probably gonna coat the top of Giga
Awesome.
Texas with solar panels. I assume.
I guess,
think they're
but then
putting the
Elon
Tesla
said that
logo
they were
on
gonna,
top.
Yeah, I think he's going to paint the logo on the top. Maybe
Yeah.
they paint it in solar panels.
Oh, right.
Or maybe go around, kind of like what they
That
do with
might
the
work.
SpaceX logo on the top, right? They got solar panels all around, and it kind of sketches out the
Yeah.
SpaceX logo. Yeah.
That might work. I'm just trying to think why else would they file to become an energy provider. I remember Apple doing the same thing when they were working on their campus in Cupertino because they knew they were going to produce more energy than they consumed at their HQ. So they powered the grid, basically became a power company just for that architecture. So the Texas, the facility being covered in panels is all I can think of. I'm not sure what else they could do.
I mean, they bought 50 acres down here that they're going to turn into a solar farm. So.
Oh, they did?
Mhm.
Good.
Yep.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe that's what it's. They're just going to put the solar panels elsewhere.
we'll see how long it takes. I mean, with the solar panel crisis in Lebanon, I'd imagine that all the solar panels probably should be going over there for now. But
Sure.
but yeah,
You would think.
whenever,
Yeah, that makes sense.
whenever they get
We'd
around
want to
to it.
prioritize the people that like don't have any other option
Right,
compared to
exactly.
those that are just like, it would be kind of nice if it was solar. Then our
Exactly.
power bill would be lower.
Exactly.
But yeah, they were just recently. I saw pictures of expanding the solar installation on Giga Nevada, which
Oh, really? Cool.
a lot of people were disappointed by because the original concept art of it was like this giant
solar
octagon
panel. Yeah.
covered in nothing but solar panels, and then the real thing is like, well, that's not very much. But they're rapidly deploying a bunch on that, so yeah, I imagine no one can make enough solar panels. I wonder what the bottleneck on that is. It's not batteries. It's got to be something else.
No, probably
cells.
just demand, I think, is probably the issue.
Well,
You think,
But like, what's the raw material?
well, silica,
Like, why can't they just
silicon,
build more factories?
silicon,
Really?
glass,
Just silicon?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big, help me out, Mr. Engineer. A solar panel is, I don't remember the technical term, but all it does is it just two wires, I guess, small wires with potential between the two, and as soon as a photon strikes it, an electron is released, and it jumps the potential there and gets you,
That's
power
basically
going in one direction. But I think they just use silicon for
Wow.
most of it, and obviously there's probably some silver or gold or other materials in there, but yeah, pretty much just sand.
So it's basically a PN junction.
A what?
And so a PN junction. So what happens is there's electrons that, like you said, are being excited in the structure, and there's a band gap that it has to overcome. And once it overcomes that band gap, an electron volt pair occurs where you've got an electron movement, and that's how you get electricity, because you start getting electron movements, which is an amperage, right? How you measure electrons moving. And then from there, you've got electricity, of course, because you've got electrons moving. So it's all about whether this diode that is a solar PV.
Diode. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Diode.
Yeah.
And did you know if you run power through a solar panel, you get a very specific wavelength of like infrared light. Solar panels can emit light as well if you run power through them. It's just the
Really?
exact same process reversed. Yeah.
I did not know
I
that.
watched a YouTube video on that. So source like Smarter Every Day or whatever YouTube video I watched.
Oh, interesting.
So you could get
I'll
a
have to
really
find that one.
crazy tan if you've got a whole bunch of solar panels and you just reverse the
Suck all of
The
the power out of the
electrons.
grid.
Yeah.
That's what makes me so excited about Aptera, is just the idea of a solar-powered vehicle. I'm kind of annoyed by how easily Elon kind of writes it off in podcasts and stuff. He's always just like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, come on. Even if you still have to charge, like, just supplemental charging, I think, would be a big help. I'm not saying it has to completely charge off of solar. Even if it just gave you an extra 5-10 miles a day, that would be better than what a gas car gets, which is nothing. I mean, EVs in their natural state kind of drain quite a bit more than, a gas car that's sitting around for a few days. The range doesn't change very much over the course of it sitting there. So if we just had a bit of solar cells on cars that could offset that drain, or power sentry mode for weeks at a time, so that doesn't drain your battery within a couple days or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like maybe he knows how bottlenecked solar production is and just realizes it's pointless to try to ramp that up further for their cars, but I would still like it. I hope the Cybertruck has the solar cover like he was talking about. That would be wonderful.
It could be part of the reluctance that they are a solar provider. And so if you're putting solar on your car and then selling that, you're hurting your solar business by moving the supplies that you could have made a solar roof on someone's house and moved it to a car,
That's true.
in which could get in a wreck, and or just doesn't get utilized because it's being parked inside the garage the whole time. So
Yeah.
I think he
Dude.
could be thinking of that angle as well in regards to putting solar on a Model 3 or a Cybertruck or anything else.
Yeah, power consumption's pretty low on some of the lighter Model 3s. It's like they get them under 200 watt hours per mile.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I was watching someone recently that was, I think it was Tech Forum, was driving around his Model 3 Performance, actually. And he was like, obviously not if you're accelerating like crazy and driving at high speeds, but if you're doing like mild driving, you can get it under 200 watt hours, even on a performance Tesla. So with that kind of energy consumption, you could get quite a bit of range back through solar. It would definitely. You're right though. It would definitely not be that useful for the daily driving stuff because you'd just be better off putting solar on the house and then charging at home. But it would be maybe more applicable to the Cybertruck because that's more likely to be people's, like camping vehicle, be like out in the field, going on adventures, big road trips when you're far away from home for extended periods of time. And if you have lots of sun out there, you're not parking in a garage, So maybe that vehicle, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
If it takes till 2023, I'll say it's worth it. If they can get solar working on the Cybertruck, take as much time as you need, please. It would be wonderful.
I've been waiting for 30 months.
Yeah.
Just for that.
Give me the solar.
Waiting.
Just for
Give me solar, please. Yeah, I hope Aptera can hit their numbers. I guess the main reason I'm excited for them is just because even if they don't hit the range numbers, it's still really good.
Yeah.
It's a really cool vehicle, even without
miles. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could reserve one today.
What?
Yeah.
Have you played with their new
reserve
configurator
one right now?
I have not. No.
Oh, so
it's pretty cool.
They updated the site. It's a lot more Tesla inspired.
Ooh.
But
The configurator feels like the Tesla configurator.
You should see when you change it from 200 to 400 to I think 600 and then to 1,000 miles. I forget what that does,
Correct.
but you can see where the batteries go in the vehicle, which is really strange battery shape. It's not like
it's
a
like
typical
a T.
That or a is it a T? I thought it was like a Y.
It's an upside down T. There's like a horizontal flat layer, and then in between that flat layer is a vertical layer. They got with the size being so small, they have to get really creative with where batteries are placed.
That is a really weird shaped battery. Yeah, kind of looks like an upside down mushroom or umbrella.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
weird.
I mean, I don't know how close that is to production, but
Huh.
my guess is they're storing batteries kind of where the center console is going to be.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of creative, considering the weight constraints they're working with. I'm rooting for them a lot, but yeah, I don't know. My biggest question for them is how they can, they're achieving their estimated ranges by assuming they're going to hit 100 watt hours per mile on every trim, which just doesn't. If you have a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, that's going to use more energy to move than a 25 kilowatt hour battery pack. So I'm not sure where they're getting 100 from, or if they think that's just the general average between all of them, or they can only hit 100 on the low range option. But even if the range figures are way off and the range ends up being 600 miles instead of 1,000, that's still really, really far. That's still for a $45,000 vehicle to go 600 miles per charge. That's really good. So, yeah, I don't think Model 2 or not Model 2, whatever they end up calling it, is going to be a threat to that. It's kind of a whole different market in itself. But
Speaking of Model 2,
yes,
did you see the tweets?
What tweet?
saw Sawyer Merritt's tweets, not Elon's. But I don't know. I think it's causing more problems than it's fixing to keep telling people it won't be called Model 2.
What are you going to call it?
Why don't you just tell us? Yeah, why don't you just tell us what it'll be called so we don't keep coming up with made up names? We gotta.
This is true.
Some people saying Tesla Compact, some people saying Model Q, some people saying Model 2, some people saying Model Z for
Model
some reason.
B for Model Broke.
For the broke people who wanted Tesla.
How about Model F for frugal?
Hey,
That's
not a
not the
terrible
only
idea,
F thing
actually.
I was thinking of, but okay.
Then frugal Tesla guy will be very happy.
Funny. Jeez,
Yeah,
Drew, get your
frugal
head out of the
Tesla.
gutter.
Model Fun.
The Model F, Model Funny, is going to have the most clowns per cubic inch in the entire
It's
vehicle.
an FUV, like Arcimoto. It's
I don't think it's a utility vehicle, though.
Oh, that's true. Robo-taxi vehicle. It's an RV.
Did you guys see that? Which I thought was pretty hilarious. That Elon insinuated that it might ship without a steering wheel and accelerator pedals, or at least accelerator and
I did see
braking
that.
pedals. Which
I don't think that's as crazy as people think.
it definitely caught me by surprise, just like thinking of a vehicle being shipped without those things. Like, I mean, you could technically get that with like, if you want to get a go-kart or whatever, it just doesn't have those, you have to install those, but that's a go-kart or some other like build your own car kit type of things. But like with something
Right.
that's like as refined or mass produced as a Tesla, and then saying, oh yeah, there's no steering wheel or no brake or accelerator pedals, you're just gonna have to hope that it works whenever it gets delivered to you, or just press
that
a
would be
button.
My next question would be, why would you sell vehicles without steering wheels to people? At that point, why not just turn everything into a robo-taxi? Because if by Tesla's logic, I'm not saying this will happen, I'm just saying in Elon's mind of robo-taxi future, they believe they can make $30,000 a year off of an autonomous vehicle that can drive itself around. So why would you sell it to a person for $25,000 where you could make $30,000 a year off of that vehicle for probably at least 8 to 10 years, depending on how it ages and its cycle life? Like, I guess that's why I'm confused. Is at one hand they're like, it's a 25K model, and on the other hand they're like, it won't have a steering wheel. I was like, it doesn't really make sense to sell them to people. If we achieve robo-taxis, which I think is much further out than Elon does, but you know, that's just Elon's overly optimistic brain, which we have to thank for a lot of things. So I won't fault it for being overly optimistic, but that doesn't mean I have to believe every timeline, obviously. So what do you guys think? Do you think there's still a point in selling customers a vehicle without a wheel?
Yeah, I think so. At least in the beginning. I think 50 years down the road, if FSD robo-taxis all do take off, I think it would make sense to just have it all be owned by Tesla, and Tesla just becomes Uber, but 100 times more convenient, 10 times cheaper, and whatever.
Way safer.
Yeah, exactly. All that other fun stuff. But for right now, I think it makes sense because, okay, sure, Tesla might be able to make $20,000 a year off of this robo-taxi every year for the next 10 years, but it still costs $50,000 to make this car, or $90,000 or whatever model they're making.
Whoa.
And so,
You think it'll cost that much?
No. Well, for a Model S or whatever, or whatever model they're making, it costs them a certain amount of money that they have to pay up front to suppliers, to employees, and all that. And I think right now Tesla.
Yeah, for the higher ones.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about all their Teslas. The $120,000 Model S. I'm sure that costs a significant amount of money to make.
Yeah.
But so Tesla has to spend that money upfront right now, and it wouldn't make a lot of sense, especially as they're not huge yet financially. I mean, they're huge brand wise, they're huge market share wise, and they're huge technology wise, but financial wise, they're making it well. But it makes sense to have $50,000 now than the possibility of $20,000 a year for the next 10 years later. Especially when you can do both of those at the same time. So, I don't know.
I guess my question was referring specifically to this model. Like, if this
model
model
I'm sorry.
is $20,000 to build, and Elon's thinking
it
steering
won't
wheel,
cost
does it make sense for
$90,000
that
to
model?
make the Model B.
Yeah,
Model
that's
B.
what I was confused by. Like, do you think that model specifically it makes sense
I
to
think
sell it without a steering wheel?
I think all of the models will eventually start making sense to sell without a steering wheel. Even the Model S, even the Roadster. I think the steering wheel will yield to the yoke, and the yoke will yield to a PS4 game controller, and then from there we'll go. No, it already has the PS4 chip, so or PS5 or whatever we're on.
Thank you,
I don't
Sony.
know why you would buy. Why would you buy those cars if you couldn't drive them? Like, they're not from point A to point B.
Why does
vehicles.
Elon
Those are
buy
like
private
sports
jets
vehicles.
even though he can't fly them?
Well,
He can
'Cause
ride
they're
in
more
them.
don't-
convenient than commercial flight.
Exactly.
yeah, but that's a whole different argument. That's
Well, he's a billionaire.
well, yeah. First of all, different money class. Second of all, it's a plane, not a car. And
I
third
was,
of all,
I was making a joke, Mike.
no, I'm gonna totally dissect this whole
Take it
entire
seriously.
thing.
Take it 100% seriously.
Totally diced.
Do it.
I'm
Let's
gonna
dissect
I'm
it.
gonna write a 5-page essay on why you're wrong.
And it's
Elon's
due on
gonna-
Friday.
Mike's gonna take the rest of the show now.
Prove Nick wrong on multiple levels.
All right,
I
so
just-
point 1, Nick, you're wrong. Second of all, point 2, Elon's never gonna deliver. Part 3, it's all pumping the stock. No.
Wow. Randy is gone
It's
for
not doing a
1
good
week,
job.
and Mike hates me already. Jeez.
Hey,
It's a weird
someone's
way
got
to pump the stock. Is
It
to
is
have an
very-
internal company meeting that you don't publicly
don't
announce
talk about it.
anything.
But the Tesla bot's coming.
Yes, Tesla bot.
Some
Yeah.
year.
No, I would say, to answer your question, Drew, doesn't it kind of aligns with the first part of Nick's answer? Yeah, it does make sense to sell it to people initially, as here's a vehicle
Even without a
steering
wheel.
Yeah, here's a vehicle without a steering
Okay.
wheel. Maybe if it doesn't have a steering wheel, it just doesn't come with side view mirrors then, because you're not even controlling it.
Nope.
So it's the dawn
Wouldn't
of
need that.
no side view, or zero side view. I can't say side
the
view
range a
mirrors
little.
apparently, but yeah,
No
it boosts the
mirrors.
range a bit more, less cost to it. People would frolic to it. It'd definitely be a moneymaker because people would be so enticed by this weird product that Tesla's selling that doesn't cost so much, but you can't control it. You just put in a destination and it goes. You have no way of telling it, take this route, or I would rather go through this alley instead of going through these stoplights or wherever. It would have to take you wherever it wants to go. So there'd be a little bit of frustration there. But it'd be another way to totally optimize the full self-driving computer in Dojo to even greater heights, because it's forcing it to make these decisions, and it's giving it so many different edge cases. Now, is it smart in this time where we've got vehicles all over the road that you have independent drivers that are able to make their own decisions and speed or drive on the shoulder and just confuse this car and or make it miss its off ramps or anything like that? Maybe, maybe not. It's a good way to teach the car how to drive with those people, but the ultimate goal is to make it to where every car in a city doesn't need to be driven by a person. It drives itself. So is there a future for that? Maybe. But you have to start somewhere. And so starting with selling this vehicle to people isn't such a bad idea initially. But yeah, later on, it'd definitely become like an Uber service where you just pull up the Tesla app, plug in where you want to go, and then car pulls up, you get in, and you go. But there'll still be people who own it. I don't know whether you could make an enterprise off of it, or it'll kind of just go back to Tesla's ownership, and then they make all the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I guess, what's in it for Tesla for people to own it outright at first? Like, what do they gain from that?
Sales and publicity, where if it was just a taxi service, it'd be a bit more of headache. Well, actually, it'd still be a headache no matter what. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have the answer for that right now.
Okay, because they don't have to go through, destination and dock fee, and they don't have to deliver it to some service center where someone ordered that trim or anything. They can just basically throw it out of the factory and tell it where to go. And I would say the publicity would be stronger because, like, anybody who has 30 cents could go 3 miles in a robo-taxi and just ride around in one. You wouldn't have to buy one to ride in it. So I feel like that would do a lot of self-publicity in itself.
Yeah. You have a point there.
I don't want this to happen, I should clarify, because the moment Tesla is able to make more money off of robotaxis than selling their vehicles, then it suddenly will become very hard to buy a Tesla, or far more expensive, and they'll be like, we don't need standard range, we don't need cheaper options because everyone can robotaxi wherever you need to go. And I'll be like, no! And the only Teslas available will be, performance and tri-motor Cybertrucks or whatever, like real expensive tiers, because Tesla would rather make more money on an annual basis just renting everything out. So I'm kind of hoping this takes them longer than expected, but it does not shock me Elon is considering the Model 2 without one, just because if the Cybertruck is delayed, I'm certain the Model 2 or whatever it's the not Model 2 will be delayed, because that's going to require structural pack. It's probably going to need a whole different factory from Texas.
Yeah.
I don't think they can build them there, and they haven't even got a location picked out yet. So when we're talking about what the Model 2 will and won't have, we're talking about a car that's probably not going to come out till 2024, 2025. FSD is going to be very different, even if that. Yeah, it could be longer. So I don't know. I just saw people freaking out by that comment, and everyone's like, "What? That's crazy!" What? It's like he's not releasing this car like next month. This is a car 5-6 years out, and if that's the case, then pitching a no steering wheel vehicle is like, yeah, it's logical. Makes me think of Zooks. Like,
Yeah.
that's a vehicle with no steering wheel, and it's not even the same layout as like a Model 3. Like the 4 seats all kind of facing each other because no one's driving the car. So does it make sense for Tesla to design the robo-taxi car like a Model 3 if there's no driver's seat? Why face forward, you know?
Yeah. Face backward. Or just face sideways. Depends where the headroom is, right? You got to think if you rotate the person, you're going to have a... If it's shaped like a typical car, you're going to need to either move the seats a little bit more to the center or just rotate the seat 90 degrees instead of 180 degrees.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's going to be an interesting car to see, like, what it develops into. With the Cybertruck, it was kind of more of like, this is what's going to look like, more or less, besides side view mirrors. Model 2, we still don't know what it looks like. And we don't know what it's going to be, whether it's going to have a wheel or not.
I don't think Tesla knows what it looks like. I mean, they're still working on it.
They don't know what it's called.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like we're almost, it's almost like we're speculating about the iPhone 16 right now. Like we're talking about something that's happening so far in the future.
Practically.
It's like we need to have Cybertruck. We need to have Cybertruck rolled out. We need to have Roadster. We need to have Semi. Then we can get to model whatever it's going to be called. Like it's a long ways away, which isn't a bad thing.
I guess I just worry. My concern with it is that I don't think it's as simple as, well, they're working on a concept, prototype design for the robotaxi autonomous vehicle. One has a steering wheel, one might have a steering wheel, whatever, big deal. I don't think it's that simple. I don't think it's a matter of one of them has a steering wheel, one of them doesn't. Because if they do achieve their dream, if they can reach level 5 in the next few years before production starts on this vehicle, similar to Zooks, I think they're going to design it entirely differently if they know it can be completely autonomous. It doesn't make sense to design an autonomous vehicle that just looks like a Model 3 on the inside. Like, it's not just about, we can save pedals and steering wheel cost. I bet, relatively speaking, that's probably really small. They're probably thinking, like, we could take out that whole display.
Yeah, the front dash.
People are just
get rid of that whole
dash.
thing.
It could all be gone if people are all facing towards each other or away from each other, or if you're designing it to be kind of omnidirectional, it can go forward, backward, doesn't really matter. That's going to be a fundamentally totally different design compared to just Model 3 minus steering wheel. Like I don't think it's that simple of a. I mean, it's possible that they might keep it that way as a backup of like when they're gearing up gigapresses or gearing up gigafactories and manufacturing techniques. It's like let's kind of plan for both. Let's have one that we can easily add a steering wheel and one that we could easily take out, and it just won't be as efficient. We don't all get to face each other, but it will definitely be a bizarre world to get into a car with no mirrors and no steering wheel on either side. Do you even need a display there? Do you basically just have a giant HVAC system pointing right at you? That's all that's in the car.
It's just one big vent, but you can still get out your phone and point the vent wherever you want.
Yeah, I would think of it kind of like the.
that.
I don't know if you guys have seen the canoe interior for either the lifestyle van or the truck. It's like a strip that you kind of put your phone on in the middle. I'd expect something that like in the middle of the Model 3, where you just dock your phone and then you're able to contrul anything around you, like the lights.
That would help cost savings.
Yeah.
Just
You don't need to
BYO
put a giant display. BYOP.
I almost said bring your own
BYOD device.
Bring your own
Yeah, it's
phone.
like
BYOP.
practically, why do we need to put, I think Dirty Tesla said it's something like $800 or $1,000 to buy off eBay, but that monitor in the Model 3 and Ys is probably the most expensive component in the immediate interior.
Yeah.
Like out of everything in there.
That and the MCU.
It's your main interface.
MCU is probably up there too, I could imagine. Maybe the FSD chip is a bit more. But
I'm sure the
still,
FSD computer's probably
depends how much you want to
thousands.
quantify that price.
Yeah. In terms, that's why I say like immediate interior of all the things you can touch and look at in there. I bet the screen is at the top. So if they could scrap that because they're like, people got phones. You don't need that big screen in there. I mean, maybe they have Robotaxi Premium and you get in there and there's a bigger screen to play games while you're driving around. But if they're just going for lowest cost of mile with this vehicle and it's not about, basically it's this self-destructive prophecy. If the car can be a pure Robotaxi vehicle, it won't be $25,000 because they won't sell it. It'll be a matter of what it costs per mile, not what it costs to buy outright, because why would they sell it outright if that was possible? So I kind of don't like that. I would rather them just sell a $25,000 car that has a steering wheel.
Yeah. All I gotta say is I'm happy that the Cybertruck exists, or at least will exist to those who don't believe it'll exist. Yeah. Well, it does exist. The prototype does exist. But yeah,
yes.
I
We're gonna
couldn't
try to
see
see
myself
it next month.
in my whole life.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you intend on doing this? Break into Elon's house and look in his garage and find the Cybertruck.
We're gonna break into Hawthorne and get in there.
Yes.
And run around all the different rooms, and we're gonna see the Tesla bot in one corner. We're gonna see the
Give it a high
Tesla
five on your way by.
van. Yeah, we'll see the Tesla van, which they haven't announced yet, really, and then we'll
That
then
was
we'll
another
see the
thing they
Cybertruck.
talked about.
Yeah,
Robo-van.
Robo-van is gonna be a thing, which I think was great for Elon to talk about, at least mention that. Yeah, we're thinking about people who can't really get into vehicles that easily because of a disability, so
Sure.
we're gonna make a van. Which
That's fair. And also for Boring Company too, it would make a ton of sense
yeah.
to have a high occupancy vehicle that can drive by itself. That Boring Company, I feel like you could probably make that autonomous now. Like you don't need much neural net training to be like, do not hit wall. Drive through this tunnel. There's no stoplights. There's no roundabouts. You're just like, don't hit wall. Drive straight. And if that Robovan can fit like 12 people, that like drastically increases the operating cost and the throughput of people in the Boring Company tunnels. So just for them alone, it makes sense to make a Robovan. But
yeah, I would just hope that Tesla would make a drivable version of it, or at least something that is a little bit more configurable. On the road trip that me and my wife did about a month or so ago, we saw so many Mercedes travel vans or Ram travel vans, all those, and we thought that would be fun. Like we could see ourselves getting into that eventually. But
life.
Yeah, but we'd want to at least have a lot of range if it was electric, and have convenient places to at least charge it up. Somewhere that, like, if you're stuck on a route that only takes you up to the most northern parts of the United States and then across, we wouldn't want to do that. We would like to go through, like, Utah or go through Colorado and be able to charge wherever.
Yeah.
Be able to increase the size of the supercharging network to where you can go into Yosemite and you can do 5 laps around Yellowstone and not have to worry about it too much. So I really hope this Robovan maybe breeds some type of drivable version.
Yeah.
I can't speak today, which is all right. That's fine. I think someone spiked my tea.
Oh well. You're trying your best.
Spiked your
But
tea.
drive-by-wire could make that real simple if they started doing more of that in the van or the the 25K not Model 2 vehicle. If it's just like a smart connector attachment type thing of like it drives by itself, but if you want to drive, you just, and then it digitally tells the wheels which way to go. Yeah. And if you're worried about safety, then just remember if the steering wheel connection fails, then the car drives itself. So
right.
Nothing to worry about.
No
just
problem.
Like, oh, wheel disconnected. I'll pull off the side of the road, or I'll just keep going where your GPS was pointed to. But yeah, I think that would be real fun. I'm looking at Canoe's website right now, and I love that delivery vehicle design. It basically looks like the Cybertruck if it was a van, and their interiors are so sleek and minimal. But yeah, I just imagine like service vehicles clogging up superchargers. Wonder if that would be a problem, just because of how big the batteries would be in them. Like a bunch of vans, like you said, if there's like a big fleet of them going somewhere, and there's like 8 vans all at a supercharger, they got big batteries. So
maybe
at the end of the day, the problem is still just we need more superchargers. That's the problem now. It'll be the problem tomorrow and the next day. Make more superchargers.
Get on it, Tesla. We're not waiting for you. Yeah, something that I mean, down here, there's tons of Teslas. Like you say, you're starting to see more Mach-E's or whatever. All Teslas down here. Like I haven't seen a non-Tesla EV down here. Which SpaceX.
I see lots of Teslas too, but yeah.
I don't see
still. But anyway, there's no superchargers down here. Like there's one at a grocery store that has like 6 or 8 stalls, and there's another one like an hour north, and there's nothing else besides that. No destination or no like what level 2 chargers or whatever they're called.
No destination.
Yeah, no destination chargers in the area, and so there are lots of Teslas and only a few stalls, and so there's sometimes a line, and it's a really inconvenient long drive from Starbase to this one grocery store that has it. And actually, a photographer that I know out in Starbase got stuck. His Model 3, he was using the AC and didn't realize the mileage dropping, and it dropped past the point of him being able to drive back to the supercharger, and so he had to charge up at someone's house in the area and at the just a standard wall outlet speed before he could drive all the way into the supercharger. And so I don't know, it makes me a little worried about not only the Cybertruck but also just the whole idea of owning a Tesla kind of out in the sticks. It feels a little bit more real, just seeing all these other people experiencing this problem. Like another one of my friends has a Model 3, and he hasn't gotten his charging situation set up as a department, so he has been just supercharging it every day. And he's like, it's kind of starting to get old because it's 30 minutes a day. He has to drive kind of out of his way to this grocery store, sit in their parking lot for half an hour, juice up, and it's not good for the battery, and it's kind of inconvenient. And obviously, he's working on getting a home charger that'll help out quite a bit. But even until then, it's just super inconvenient not having 80 different chargers. So I think the more that Tesla can build those out, the better.
Agreed.
For sure.
Yeah. I suffer kind of some of the same.
In that Starbase area.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only see like maybe 2 or 3 nearby. There is some destination chargers over by the Holiday Inn on South Padre Island. But otherwise...
That's like an hour drive from Starbase. I know it's only 5 miles away as the bird flies, but it's about an hour away.
Well, that's how the Bay Area is too.
Yep, literally.
I have to charge up
different reasons.
Yeah, I have to charge up twice a week now, just because I'm full time at my job. So I usually charge on Mondays and Fridays, and definitely gets a little bit old after a while. Depleting a basically 289 estimated range every about 3 or 4 days of driving. It gets tiring, but I think.
And the only reason you don't want to charge from home is the electric bill's really high.
Yeah, that's also my specific circumstance where we don't have solar, and PG&E literally will just chop off our arms and legs if we charge the vehicle.
Literally,
they come with a saw.
They just come in the middle of the night and start screaming if you're using that much energy.
And you're just like,
so mad
just a flesh wound.
Basically. Yeah. So
Jeez. So if you had solar, you think this wouldn't be a problem?
Wouldn't be too much of a problem. Oh, yeah, if I had solar and then a level 2 charger, it'd be fine. But, yeah, that's where if you live in the area like Nick does, it would be good to get solar and a level 2 charger for your Model 3 or whatever you have. If you have a Cybertruck, I think you could probably get by with just leaving it outside all day and not maybe using it too much with the AC or plugging anything into it too much. And I think you could get away with like only having to go maybe once a week if you do it right. But again, I don't live in the Starbase area, but this could also be applied to other places as well. It's not just Starbase that has this issue. It's a lot of the United States and the world.
Yeah, I'd say the Brownsville area, the Starbase area, is kind of a cool microcosm of what the future looks like, where you have like a really rural area that like there was not much happening here before SpaceX came in, as far as EVs and, technology and stuff. It was kind of, more farming and agriculture related. And just watching the town kind of convert from that to this more futuristic kind of mindset, like having the supercharger installed is a big deal. Obviously, there's now a supercharger in Brownsville. There wasn't a few years ago. And like, I don't know what Tesla owners did before then, but it's just kind of cool to see a town become, more Tesla friendly, EV friendly.
For sure.
This can happen. This is cool.
Yeah, that's what's happening with my hometown. They're finally letting superchargers grow there. Get installed there.
They just plant a seed. Elon goes out there with a little seed and plants the seeds for the supercharger.
Pour some little electrons on it, and then it starts to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're letting. I didn't know that. So they're letting them there now.
Yeah.
In your hometown?
Yeah, they are.
Good.
It's gonna happen eventually when they install them, but they got the okay, and that's only because the police force. I think we mentioned this in the podcast a while ago. That the police force in Reading has a Model 3, or they're going to have a Model 3 soon. And so they need to supercharge it, or at least have superchargers around towns. That way they don't have to always go back to HQ. That's so cool. I think the problem with, if we're still sticking on Starbase a little bit, the problem with it is that it used to be a wildlife reservation, or at least like it was
just
meant
all around there. It still is.
Yeah. So I think the fact that you've got that restriction, you can't really put superchargers all over the place or bulldoze the land and put in.
Well, I'm not saying
some community
supercharge, every square inch of the area, but having, the nearest supercharger from the launch site is like a 40-minute drive away, and that's kind of inconvenient when all of the stuff you're doing is down there. Now, obviously, Tesla has a bunch of destination chargers on their side of the fence. Sorry, SpaceX has a bunch of destination chargers on their side of the fence.
That's what I was imagining, too. Because at Giga Texas, they've got like 90 of those destination chargers.
Exactly.
So I was like, they've got to have something.
Yeah, but they're not for the public to use. So if you go down there with a Tesla as a private citizen, you're basically stuck with that 40-minute drive. But obviously the employees, and there are tons of SpaceX Teslas that are, just Model 3s, and they're all Model 3s, I think. I don't think there are any Model Ys. There's a few, I guess, Model Ys, but anyway, they all use just destination chargers. And most of those destination chargers are attached to power walls or Tesla solar panels and stuff, so it's kind of cool. And even solar roofs, like they've installed quite a few solar roofs, and it's kind of cool to watch them install those. But yeah, it's just kind of fun.
Though I think it is with their benefit that they don't allow the public to use those, because that means more people can go there. Yeah, more people with electric vehicles, which, there's still people with gas cars coming to watch these things happen at Starbase. But if you've got a whole bunch of Elon-centric people who just love the vehicle and have a vehicle and then also love watching Starbase stuff, it might be good to throttle the amount of people driving through or nearby your rocket base where you're doing some very sensitive work.
That is true. Yeah.
So it would be good to kind of force people to drive 40 minutes away to supercharge, so that way you don't have like a whole entire parking lot of Model 3s around your base just staring at you while you work. It would be really weird if there's people parking outside my work and just staring at me while I'm doing work. It's like,
totally.
This isn't it. Like, I get that you're super interested in either the guy ahead or it would just be really strange.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah.
That's fair.
I would say
Wouldn't be a problem if Cybertruck had solar.
Yeah, would be nice.
Wouldn't be a problem if Model 3 had solar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Be less of a problem.
Or you could just go the Mark Watney approach. Just store your solar in the back and then unfold it when you have
There
to
you
stop
go.
and charge.
That's
Yeah,
convenient.
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, just do that with the
You've
Rivian,
got it.
right? You get the Rivian with the camping package, or not the
Yes.
the camping package, and then in the bed you just put all your solar panels so that when you stop, you just unfurl your solar panels,
Ooh.
plug
Just
into the vehicle.
Unravel from the sides or something.
Well,
Looks like
I
a
was just thinking
satellite.
I was just thinking taking it out, but yeah, sure, you can unravel it from the sides, either or, and then
That
you can
sounds
just
so
have a
cool.
nice little cookout and enjoy. But
You look like Wall-E. Those origami panels just
Yeah.
unfolding themselves.
Charge up for 10 seconds and you're good.
I'd love that, especially if it was automated. If there was some button you could press and it just unfolds and folds back up when you're done.
On Wall-E, if the world really got that bad, but yet they had somehow developed solar panels that could charge a large enough battery to run a robot for 24 hours in like 10 minutes, just on solar power. Like, I don't know why they had a problem with the energy crisis to begin with in the world of Wall-E. There's a plot hole. Mike and I should re-review Wall-E. There's another plot
I
hole.
don't think it was energy that was the problem. It was garbage, though, right?
Yeah, well,
They had too much
maybe they
garbage.
used that energy to create too much garbage. Maybe you're right.
well, here's a nice analogy, Nick. We can
What?
land rockets on barges these days, which is fantastic, but we still have hurricanes going all the way up the East Coast, destroying homes and everything like that.
Yeah,
So
that is
in
true.
in the end, Mother Nature wins unless we respect it and or curate our home. Which a great way to do that is buy electric vehicle and solar. So
It's true.
So use the referral link
Although
in the
if you do
description
that-
below to get 10% off your first trial.
I think it's Randy's link in the description, too.
I think it is, actually. Yeah, I think it is.
I hope he got some out of that.
I hope he does too. I don't know if I've
You
checked
got
it.
it.
I haven't looked at it. I just
Free
copy and
road
paste
trip.
it.
Yeah. Free drive. I hope they don't get rid of the referral program. They totally could and justifiably, but I still just think
Yeah, it
it's
is
so cool.
Randy's link. Look at that. We be good friends.
You're welcome, Randy.
All
Stay
of your
tuned for
zero
next-
referrals.
next show, where we'll have a special Model 3 owner come back on the show.
Ooh,
very special.
fancy.
All right,
Do
any
you
last
have
thoughts,
closing
gents?
thoughts?
I beat you to it.
Dang it. He got me. He went to plaid.
Ooh.
Ooh, that'd be
Mike's
nice.
car
I'm
is
gonna go to
faster
Warp
than
9
mine.
first.
Hmm?
All right. Fair enough. I'll we'll catch you all next week. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.